Welcome to the Freeride World Tour. The fourth stage of the world's leading freeride series is all about the dream stop in Haines, Alaska. Last year's Alaska winner snowboarder Ryland Bell tells us what he does for a living when he's not on the slopes. And Lorraine Huber, the tour leader at the Women's Skiers, talks about her strong skiing this season. Plus, we have all the action featuring the world's best skiers and snowboarders from the ultimate freeride playground of Alaska. After 3 stages in Europe, the riders have crossed the Atlantic to show their skills in the northernmost state of the USA.
Alaska for me, I think, is the true manifestation of the final frontier. It's this wilderness and natural beauty and pure power of the natural landscape, and Alaska is the ultimate example of all those things.
It's the Mecca, you know? It's my home, it's where I grew up, it's where I learned to snowboard.
Exciting. Ever since I first started snowboarding, it was always all about getting into Alaska and riding those big AK lines.
Alaska means everything to me. It's my first time ever being here, so it's pretty incredible. Like, the terrain here and the landscape is just pretty mind-blowing. Never seen anything really like it. By the ocean, the mountains, it's really what I call home.
For me, Alaska is the best destination of the season. This is not just a myth. This is the 3rd time we've come here. We've always had good conditions, and apparently it's going to be even better than last year.
You can see it's snowing down here, and that means it's probably snowing heavily up in the mountains, so let's make it a dream stop. If you look at the mountains here, it's steep and it's close to the ocean, so all the snow sticks to it, so usually you're able to ski really sick lines here.
It's the stop that everybody wants to win.
Haines is a coastal village located between Juneau and Anchorage. Local writer Ryland Bell tells us what it means for him to live here.
Living in Alaska is awesome. When I'm not snowboarding in the summers, I'm a commercial fisherman. I am a troller. We catch all our fish one at a time on hooks. So this is called a hoochie. You may have $250 into this, and this one hoochie could catch you $1,000 in fish. There's lots of things you have to deal with out there. One, obviously the weather. You got lots of waves, wind, rain all the time. We catch every fish one at a time. We have these gerties. It's sort of like a hydraulic powered reel, and you reel up the fish, the most pristine quality fish that you can get on the planet. I remember too, we'd always drive from Fairbanks down to here to start our fishing season. And I think when I was about 16, I remember coming through in the spring, and there was still quite a bit of snow in Haines Pass, and I was looking at the mountains going, oh, okay, like this is legit, this is the spot. When I was 18, I started coming down here to shred and do the heli thing and get more into it seriously, and then since then I haven't really gone back to Fairbanks. Now I have a cabin here. Yeah, I'd say I'm pretty competitive. Definitely, it's always like a friendly competition fishing. Come into a competition like this, you feel it. You're competing against yourself in the mountain as much as anybody else for sure, but you always want to do well and stoke yourself up and make it happen. When people ask me what I do for work, I definitely say fisherman, but in a lot of ways I fish so that I can snowboard.
The contest face is exposed to the northeast and is simply called the venue. It's composed of 2 steep sections with many spines and cliffs, tied by a huge snowfield. Classic Alaska style.
I'm feeling pretty scared, to be honest. You look at these features and this look like it'll be totally doable, and then you see someone ski by and they're like, dwarfed by the size of these cliffs. Pretty gnarly, but it should be a lot of powder, so I'm also pretty stoked.
The nearby Pacific Ocean provides extraordinary snow conditions you find only in Alaska. The snow sticks even to the steepest spines.
So we just made it to the top of the venue and we're got kind of socked in here. So just waiting for another little blue sucker hole to show up and we'll be on our way.
In the overall ranking, reigning champion Sami Lubka is in the lead after the first 3 stages. Christopher Granboom is second and Jonathan Benfield third. Ryland Bell, who won the Alaska stage in the previous year, is the first rider to go.
It's intense up there. To do one of these runs, you really got to get yourself stoked up and psyched and just adrenaline pumping, ready to go, feeling it, Strapped in, I got my song going, I'm like ready to go. It's time to play.
Ryland Bell puts the pedal to the metal and starts collecting air and style points. Then it's a huge 360 with a solid landing by Bell. The Alaskan local seems to really enjoy this run, sending a huge frontside 360 and stomping it like butter.
It's really, really cool that they bring a contest to Haines and that they've managed to get it off for the last 3 years. It feels great to come out, up top.
Next rider is overall leader Sami Lubka. The U.S. boy has had an excellent season so far, taking 2 victories and 1 second place. Lubka just plays with the terrain. He makes everything seem so easy. After 2 nice indie grabs, he delivers a beautiful 360 from a huge cliff. The judges will award that one many points for sure.
It's the dream stop for everybody, so to come up here 3rd year in a row, try to run a contest in like the logistically hardest place to run a contest probably in the world, and to have it work out so good, I mean, it's the dream stop for a reason.
Christopher Granboom is next. The Swede is one of the riders who could still snatch the title away from Lubka. But Granboom crashes after a huge cliff drop. Obviously, he's had problems with the deep snow. But there's still one more rider up there, Davey Baird. What will the rookie do? Baird begins with smooth and fluid turns and controlled cliff drops. Then he delivers a nice backflip, but he has problems with the landing. Much respect for trying, though. In the lower part of the face, Baird shows a fluid line in the deep snow and tries to collect further points by dropping from several smaller cliffs.
So being new on the tour is definitely a learning curve, like the visual inspection only, but along with the bad comes the good, and there's a lot of good, so it's a big family, and just stoked to be a part of it.
Thanks to an extraordinary performance, Sami Lubka wins the Alaska Dream Stop, and that also means he has already managed to defend his title. Ryland Bell is in second, and Davey Baird finishes third.
I guess I got the title again, which is pretty cool, back to back.
Sami Lubka leads the ranking by nearly 1,700 points, which means his rivals will not be able to catch him at the finals anymore. Sami Lubka is the new Freeride World Tour champion in snowboarding. 4 female snowboarders take part in the Alaska stage. 25-year-old Frenchwoman Marion Erty heads the ranking, followed by American Shannon Yates.
It looks fun, so I'll have a good time no matter what.
Shannon Yates is the most experienced of the female snowboarders. The 39-year-old is first to drop in. She rides without hesitation, passing the first cliffs with flying colors. The snow looks fantastic. Yates seems to be very confident. She rides this extremely steep and technical part very fluidly.
I'm definitely a big mountain rider. I spent the past 20 years riding at Snowboard. I don't really have any freestyle background, so steep technical runs suit me, and then just big and fast.
Now it's Marion Erty's turn. In her second year on the tour, the French rider has progressed a lot and has become one of the favorites for the title. Erty drops in and shows a fast but clean air, connecting with fluid powder turns. She delivers another jump at the steepest part of the face, and then uses her strong technique to finish the run with style. The face is really special. There are tons of spines and different lines. Once again, it's amazing to ride here. Unfortunately, we only get one run. I'd love to get in more. 70 points for Shannon Yates. She's the winner of the Dream Stop. Marion Erty takes second with 57.66, and Anne-Fleur Marxa is third.
From this win, I think it's going to be a pretty tight race between me and Marion. She's still ahead, but I'm hot on her tail.
Marion Erty stays in front with a 300-point lead. Shannon Yates in second, and Anne-Fleur Marxa is third, far behind with no chance to win the title any longer. During the waiting period for the stop in Alaska, we talked to Lorraine Huber about her strong performance this season. In 2014, I also had the chance to win the title. It feels like a very long time ago now. I think I've learned a lot since then, especially regarding the mental game. Back then, I probably made the mistake of being too focused on results. That made me nervous and put me under pressure, and in the end, I wasn't able to handle the pressure. I'd say the pressure is maybe even higher now. It's the penultimate stage, and we're in Alaska, but it's always all about how you handle the pressure. I think this kind of pressure is really a privilege. I'm in a privileged position. I think you can learn a lot from challenges like this one here in Alaska, and learning is what I aim for. That's my goal. Challenges. I love them, and they drive me. My strategy here in Alaska is to do the same as I did in Andorra and in Fieberbrunn. I managed to get into the perfect mindset. I managed to clear my head and ski in an intuitive way, and that's what I want to repeat here.
Frei im Kopf und intuitiv Skifahren kann. Und das möchten wir hier wiederholen.
Lorraine Huber leads the overall ranking, but 4 rivals are hot on her heels. Jacqueline Passo, Kylie Savelle, Ariana Tricomi, and reigning champ Eva Wagner. After the cut in Fieberbrunn, 6 female skiers take part in the Haines competition, and the pressure is on. Lorraine Huber is the first to ride. she's highly motivated after her win in Fieberbrunn. On the venue, she navigates confidently down the face and takes some controlled cliff drops. This is a fluid run in great powder. I had the feeling I was able to realize what I had planned. I wanted to show fluid and solid skiing. The snow was just fantastic, a dream. I've rarely skied such deep powder before. The long waiting has paid off. Next rider to go is the strong Italian Arianna Tricomi. Tricomi starts her run with aggressive turns and sticks a solid air at the first cliff. She turns to the right and jumps a steeper part. Tricomi now pulling off some very nice and fluid powder turns in the middle section of the face.
Vincere in Alaska sicuramente una delle esperienze.
Alaska is a very great experience. Today, the result is only secondary. I'm really thankful that I had the opportunity to ride these incredible mountains.
Di sciare su queste montagne è un regalo enorme. Sono davvero molto grata di avere questa possibilità.
Reigning champion Eva Wagner from Salzburg is the next rider. The Austrian took the win in Alaska last year. Despite a weak start into the season, she's still eager to win her third title. 2 years ago, she secured the title already here in Haines. Wagner skis to the left, showing some wide powder turns. Then she heads towards her first cliff and takes the jump without hesitation, stomping it with great control. Another successful cliff drop, and Wagner now performing some beautiful powder turns. I wanted to try really hard today, as I had nothing left to lose. As for Verbier, I've never won there so far, so that's my goal for sure, to win in Verbier. But today, Arianna Tricomi takes the win. The result is secondary in comparison to riding great powder like this, but for sure, I'll always keep this victory in my heart. There's nothing better than to win in Alaska.
Nel mio cuore per sempre, perché vincere in Alaska credo sia una delle cose più belle al mondo.
Lorraine Hooper keeps her lead in the overall ranking, but Arianna Tricomi and Jacqueline Passau could still snatch the title away from her at the finals in Verbier. Swede Christopher Turtel leads the overall ranking at the male skiers. The young Frenchman Leo Slamet, Swiss rookie Jan Rossis, experienced Swede Reine Barkered, and reigning champion Loïc Lompatin followed closely behind. The competition is very tight. Everyone has a chance to win the title. Loïc Lompatin is the first skier to go, but the Frenchman is used to handling pressure. He chooses a confident, high-speed line. Lompatin takes a huge double cliff and follows it up with another big cliff shortly thereafter, and without hesitation or controlling his speed, he takes the next cliff with a 360. Lompatin connects more cliffs than anyone else. The Frenchman makes the most of this huge face. He knows exactly where he wants to ride and takes every jump that's in his way. What a great performance.
C'est vraiment une face qui me correspond. Il y a
This is a face that really matches my style. It's long, there are tons of features all over, and it's pretty easy to navigate and not get lost. With the snow that we had today, this is really what it's all about. The next rider to go is Colomb-Baton's compatriot, Leo Slemet. The 23-year-old from Chamonix chooses a similar line to that of Colomb-Baton. He takes a huge double cliff without hesitation. And at the following cliff, Slemet does a perfect backflip and stomps the landing flawlessly. In the lower part of the face, Slemet skis another fast drop from a cliff before performing great turns in the Alaskan powder. Loic and I had chosen a similar line. We only realized it this morning, but we didn't really talk about it, so it was cool to see him ski this line. I thought, that was very good, but now I have to ride it even better. I think we both had solid top sections with a trick each, and I believe he probably made the difference in the bottom section. I'm not sure yet, but congratulations to him. Rookie Sam Lee from New Zealand is the next skier to ride. Lee also takes the big double cliff confidently. I'll take the bullet for you, I'll be gone. And just as Slemet before him, Lee shows a backflip on the second big cliff, but the backslap on the landing will cost him some points, however. All in all, a great run by the 25-year-old Kiwi. He shines in the air and style category and with his fluid riding. And at the final double cliff, he shows the biggest air of the day. Stop living the lives we all believed in. This is just the start.
Far out. The conditions were just like perfect. It was so nice. The snow was awesome. It was basically all as expected and mega fun.
And now it's Christopher Turdell's turn. The current leader in the overall ranking takes the upper double cliff with high speed. Without controlling his speed, he heads on to the next cliff, but then he bails and loses one of his skis, and that's it for the Swede. Turdell's compatriot Rainer Baccarat getting ready to go next. Baccarat turns to the right, choosing a different line than the riders before him. The experienced Swede rides very fast, but suddenly the part of the slope begins to slide. Baccarat keeps his nerves, though, and turns to a safer part of the face, showing an excellent ride to the finish. But Loic Colomb-Baton wins the dream stop in Alaska. I always have a good feeling here in Alaska, except for the first year when I crashed. Last year I ended up second with a line that was a bit more complete, but the conditions were different. This year my line has earned me another podium and even a win on the tour. With Loic Colomb-Baton coming in first and Slemet second, the two Frenchmen are now level on points with Christopher Turdell in the overall ranking. Tension is rising, and now the finals at the notorious north face of the Bec de Rosse in Verbier will decide who will be the new world champion.
We are going to take a closer look at Sam Lee's run, one of the few youngsters who made the cut for the last two events of the season.
Man, I was real nervous at the top of this one. Just go through my routine of pretty much punching myself whenever I can, and I don't know why, but that makes me feel better. Coming into that double, I wanted to hit it in a slightly different way, but I wanted to hit it. Once you're in the air, you realize how close everything actually is and also how steep it is. It was so much steeper than I was expecting, and I got pretty squirrely coming out of it. Just managed to hold on. and then back to the plan, backflip, feeling awesome.
A tiny control issue on the landing of his double, but it's at the landing of his massive backflip that he actually lost a few of his points.
But I think, I don't know, I'm still pretty happy that I got the flip around. Any day I get upside down is a good day.
On the last section, he went bigger than the rest of the field, and he managed to bump up his score on a very high note.
Man, after landing that last cliff, 100 meters down the hill after that, I just started giggling and I pretty much was like laughing like a little girl all the way through to the finish.
And that's it from the dream stop of the Freeride World Tour in Alaska. The riders will now return to Europe for the finals in Verbier. We'll be sure to bring you all the action from the world's best free skiers and snowboarders fighting for the world title in Switzerland. Loïc Lamparton, Leo Slamet, or Christopher Turdell, one of them will become the next world champion on the dreaded north face of the Bec de Rosse.